Do you have an enthusiastic puppy? Puppy biting is a very normal problem that new puppy owners have. However, it can be seriously compounded when you have a puppy that is extremely energetic, loves to play, and really, really loves you. The more a puppy loves you and wants to play with you, generally, the harder they bite, and the more persistent they are at trying to bait you into playing with them. This can be a really huge problem, especially if you have children. You don't want to have a bad relationship between the children and the puppy, and smaller children may begin to fear the puppy because those tiny little teeth sure can be sharp. Apart from biting at the hands, puppies can also jump up on your legs, grab onto your pant hem, nip at ankles, and even nip at faces, lips, chins, and earlobes. It's very important to get this habit nipped in the bud immediately. You do not want your puppy trying to play with a stranger this way, especially if they do nip hard. You may have someone who mistakes puppy playing and nipping for aggression and biting. You've tried a stern reprimand, you've tried timeouts, you've tried exercising the dog, you've let the dog exercise you. Nothing seems to be working. There is just no one-size-fits-all when it comes to puppy biting. Every puppy responds to different methods differently. You just sort of have to keep trying till you figure out what works to stop the puppy. Impulse control exercises are one of my favorite things to do. It really does help get the puppy to think before they act. And in general, it helps with all aspects of the puppy's training. It's impossible to remove the reward for biting because the reward is the biting. As a result, you really have to make the biting unpleasant for the dog. That is the only way to cause him to choose to bite other surfaces apart from your skin. The difference between different puppies is how much or what degree of unpleasantness is required to cause the puppy to stop biting. And unfortunately, it is now up to you to figure that out. The very first thing that you want to work on is learning how to control your dog and getting him to settle down, whether he likes it or not. So first, you're going to go ahead and take an excited dog. Grab him behind the collar. If you have a harness, this would be better. Position your hand behind one ear so that it makes it more difficult for him to turn around and bite your hand. And then get him to lay down quietly. You can reward him with food when he does this. After a while, when you feel you've got this down, have someone be stimulating and exciting nearby. Have your kids run past you. High-pitched, exciting noises work pretty well. Continue to put him in the down and calmly tell him, settle down. If he tries to run, you just pick him up. You can see here a harness would be easier. I do have to hold him with my hand under his chest in order to prevent him from really struggling too much. And you just stay calm. Don't get frustrated. Just keep telling him, settle down, and just help him settle down until he does. And eventually he will. Hold him nice and firmly. He will whine a little bit. That's okay. Just stay calm. If he's really struggling, make sure that the external stimulation stops until he can calm down so that you're not doing too much. If you're having trouble getting the dog to settle down before you even get to the external stimulation part, you may want to start trying this exercise when he's already calm. See how he's licking me here? He's redirecting his attention back on me, and that's a good thing. The next step in the process would be to play with the puppy, really get him ramped up, and then in the middle of what you're doing, stop and ask him to get calm with you. Make sure that you are praising him really, really enthusiastically when he gets it right. Give him a lot of physical affection during the process. And when he does get it right, and after you're very, very enthusiastic, go right back to playing with him after you release him. What about small puppies, or if you have any kind of disability that doesn't really allow you to sit down and hunch over and hold a puppy next to you? You can see that a really small puppy here is hard to hold onto. They're that low to the ground. If you try bending over, it's too tempting for them to try to get your face, and they just are sort of wiggly. So if for any reason you can't hold the puppy next to you on the left-hand side, then you can pick the puppy or dog up and hold the dog against your body in a calm position. Which way you hold the puppy will depend on the puppy. If they're up too high and they won't stop licking at or biting your face, obviously that's not going to work. If you hold them with their feet away from you and it prevents them from kicking off of you and not squirming, then that works out. If you can turn them around and put their legs against you and they won't push off of you and it won't make your life miserable, then that works also. Pretty much any way that is comfortable for both you and the puppy and minimizes squirming and efforts to escape is pretty much the position that you're going to want to use. It's pretty easy. While you're holding the puppy, make sure you're petting in a calm, soothing way and talking very softly. You may notice when you have the puppy in a hold position that he may be so ramped up and excited that he's actually shivering. That's normal, especially for a puppy when they're really, really excited. So if you've got the external stimulation going on, or you're outside, or you've just been playing a game, or you've got them all ramped up with verbal excitement, you may notice something like this. I do recommend that you keep your hand over the puppy's chest so you can feel his heart rate. Try to pay attention. You should feel the heart rate calming down as the puppy genuinely becomes more calm. If when you try to put the puppy back down to let him free, he starts trying to run like a madman, you have to straighten yourself back up and then try again. And you have to just repeat that until the puppy is willing to be let go in a calm and orderly fashion. Alternatively, you can try to hold them in the ground in a calm position if it is not too uncomfortable and if it even works. So we're going to up the ante and try baiting the dog with food. Put the pup into a calm position. He is supposed to be staying with you and ignoring other things. He's going to keep trying to get that food. You can either put it on the floor in front of you or you can have someone hold it. It does help to have somebody there because they can close their hand if the puppy gets farther than you think he can get. You're just going to keep doing your best to get him to lay down voluntarily without being held forcibly and ignoring the food. When he finally does it, be very enthusiastic. Let him know he is such a good boy and give him his food. Be sure to give him a different piece of food than the one you have been tempting him with. The next step in the game will be to have the puppy lying next to you without you holding him in a calm position and tolerating being touched and messed with by other people. Can you hold his collar for me? Can you hold his collar? Feed the puppy while this is taking place to encourage his attention to remain on you instead of turning to mouthing or nipping the people touching him. And would you go like this? Good boy. Good boy. You can let go of his collar. Let go. Good boy. Is he being calm? The puppy? This may all seem very overwhelming to you at this moment, but that's only because I'm breaking it down into teeny tiny steps. This all took one day with each one of these puppies, and then just practice is repeating over and over. Have everybody in the family mess with the puppy, and any older children in the family should also attempt the same things that you are attempting to put the puppy into a calm position beside them after ramping them up. Children in particular tend to not be quite assertive enough to really get the puppy to listen and stand next to them. You'll see that she's struggling here with holding the puppy in a firm way that prevents him from actually dragging her arm all over the place, despite the fact that he's only a 10-pound dog. Bait the puppy with food and try to allow the other person to, on their own as much as possible, get the puppy to lay down and be calm and ignore the food. At a minimum, to lay down and not struggle. Dogs don't necessarily generalize well, so they don't always know that one command said by one person is going to mean the same in every place or when said by every person. So it's a good idea to practice. This is called proofing the behavior. Now, this is just a first step in a series of various ways that you will try to stop the mouthing and biting. From here forward, you're going to try a bunch of different things and see what works. My goal in doing this was to bait the puppy into biting me. So I realized that everything that I am doing, I am encouraging this puppy and ramping him up to bite me. So all of the ways that I am playing with him, you might want to avoid. My entire goal here is to annoy the puppy. Every time he bites me, I'm going to do something annoying. Anything that I can think of in the moment, just annoy him so that he starts to associate biting me with really annoying things. And in the end, you will find that he ultimately brings a toy to me, and he proceeds to play with me for the remainder of the evening with a toy. And about 2 hours later, I tried again to bait him into biting me, and all he would do was lick me. And then I proceeded to have this puppy for training for another week, and he never bit me again. Just reiterate over and over and over again, if you bite me, I'm going to annoy you. I'm going to do something that is annoying. You remember, you don't like biting people because when you do, it's annoying. But this was a puppy that would bite me so hard that I was concerned it was actually going to scare the owner's child, because this puppy was just surprisingly bit hard. And this is a little fluff, you wouldn't think so, but he was really biting down. It was a little bit of a concern for me. And so you'll see all kinds of things that I'm doing to just irritate the snot out of him. You gonna stop now? Yeah, you gonna stop biting me now? You don't think it is? You can play without biting me, it's possible. Oh, it felt good. Hey. It's a good boy. Yeah, you know, a good boy. Oh, what a good boy. Aww, you have a toy, and you're frowning at it. 2.5 hours later, I tried hard to bait him into biting me, but he just wouldn't do it. Mission accomplished. You gonna bite me? You gonna bite me? Come on, do it. Come on, bite me, you little jerk. Come on, you jerk. Be a mean puppy. He licks me. He's like, I will kiss you and show the world what a nice little dog I am. What a nice little dog I am. Be such a nice little dog that I would just lick you and kiss you and be so sweet to you. Yes, I will. You're so nice. Yes, you are. You're so nice, you are. So there are several aversive methods that can be used to stop puppy biting. And if you are opposed to any kind of aversive method, in this context, aversive means a type of therapy designed to make a subject give up an undesirable habit by associating it with an unpleasant effect. The only non-aversive way to prevent your puppy from biting you and to get them to stop is to completely ignore the behavior, and then only praise when the puppy stops biting you. And that is just going to take a very long time. I understand that a lot of people want to be positive only, and that positive only training is very popular. I personally am not a positive trainer. I am what is called a balanced trainer. Basically, I understand and recognize that positive methods are very effective and way more fun and friendly, and they're less likely to backfire. They're definitely safer choices when it comes to training animals and people, to be honest. However, it's just not always possible. There are definitely situations in which you have to apply punishment. It's really the only way to get them to stop doing what they want. And with biting, it's just something that they like doing. They're not going to stop biting unless you make it unpleasant for them. They just aren't. And when you are ignoring the behavior and trying to not reward the behavior, it doesn't work if the behavior is rewarding in and of itself. If you just ignored the puppy jumping on the table and stealing your turkey right off the table on Thanksgiving, the turkey itself would be the reward. The dog wouldn't stop doing it because eating that turkey is pretty rewarding. He doesn't need you to reward him for the behavior because the behavior is rewarding. So biting you is rewarding all by itself. He's not going to stop doing it unless you make it unpleasant.
What? Do you want me to be quiet? You talk too much. Go stop talking.
In our turkey example, we would prevent the dog from eating the turkey by physically restraining him by using a leash. You can stop puppy biting by using restraint. You could use a muzzle in this situation with your puppy if that is what you wanted to do. You can train a puppy to accept a muzzle. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, you're gonna cry and give me kisses at the same time? Don't be so sad.
Does the punishment need to be painful? There is the timeout method where you can consistently put the puppy in their crate for a timeout. However, that is still a physical punishment. You are banishing them. You are physically restraining them. The type of punishment really doesn't matter. All that matters is that it is effective and almost never need be applied. If your aversive punishment is effective, you shouldn't need to repeat it very many times. If you need to, switch the type of punishment. This is not abuse, just to be clear. You're saying like, oh, prison is better than, getting like a spanking, I suppose. What do you think? What would you prefer?
Would you prefer a spanking or jail?
Oh, you're gonna be fine. You're not gonna go to jail. You're a good puppy. You made him sad.
Don't be worried. You're gonna be okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You don't really want to hit the dog. That's not what we're talking about. You just sort of slowly increase the level of discomfort that you are applying for the unwanted behavior until you find something that actually works. And every breed is different. I just want to reiterate here, applying a small amount of pain is not abuse. If you're a gentle person and cannot stomach that, I completely understand. I suggest you then use crate as a timeout and understand it will take a very long time with a lot of consistency in order for you to achieve what you want. Abuse means specifically to treat with cruelty, especially if it is repeated. And cruelty means callous indifference or pleasure in causing pain and suffering. That is most certainly not what is going on here. So you can see he's biting on me here. They just like doing it. It's just really fun for them. It's a natural behavior. You are combating a natural behavior. And if you don't do a good job, then he will keep doing it and he will keep chewing on you harder and harder. And then you're just gonna think like, oh, my puppy is just extra bitey. It's something wrong with my puppy, or my puppy's aggressive, or he's a mean puppy. And that's not it. It's not any of those things, I promise. If your puppy is biting you and it's out of control, it's because you are not being stern enough and they're not afraid to really push their boundaries. And so you have to be able to push back and keep them within the confines of the boundaries of acceptable behavior, and that is your job. So if it's not working, if he's pushing the boundaries and gaining ground, it is because you are not digging in hard enough. Okay, so it's not that he's extra mean, it's just that you really have to find your strength to push back against this little thing and not let it rule your life, or they will.
Right?
So one of the things that you can do to prevent puppy biting is that when they bite down on you, you push their nose away, right? If you put your hand flat against the nose, their nose has so many nerve receptors in it. It's extremely sensitive. And so when you touch it, it causes them to involuntarily pull back because they're always trying to keep it very protected. It's a very, very sensitive organ. Sort of like if a cat gets their whiskers touched, they have a tendency to just pull away, right? Because that's so sensitive, it's the same thing. So if you put your hand directly at the flat on the puppy's nose and push like that, they will usually just pull their nose away from you. So some are very, very sensitive and they will stop doing it right away. Others will they'll overcome the discomfort rather quickly and just continue to bite you, because there's more drive to bite than there is to avoid that particular stimulation. No, 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 no. Another thing that you can do is just sort of push them away. You know, put your hand against their chest and just shove them back a little bit in a gentle way. That one, in my opinion, is very likely to backfire. A lot of puppies just think you're playing with them and they think it's hilarious and great, and they just come back at you even harder. So if your puppy seems to be enjoying that, then you know you can do it to play, but it is going to continue biting you. No. 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 Oh no. You're a biter, dude. No. 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 So he's just getting more crazy.
Yeah, what do you do?
He just thinks we're just playing harder is what he thinks.
So how do we get him to stop biting?
Just persistently thwarting his efforts. Stop. Nope. If you don't make them think that you're mad, then he's just biting harder. Like, he's actually biting me pretty hard. Hey! No! No! No!
What are you trying to tell me? What? What do you want? Do you want to get down?
Another effective technique is to simply make it impossible for the puppy to win. Studies show that dogs that can't win at a game will give up. They don't think it's fun. Just like we don't feel that way when we lose no matter what we do. It gets aggravating. Stay out of reach. Go too fast for him. Roll away from every nip. Always be bigger and stronger. You gonna bite your own feet? In contrast to this, play a lot with rope toys and tugs and let him win all the time. Oh, come on. Oh, you won. Oh. Good job. One of the things that you can do is hold the puppy's mouth. You just take your finger and your thumb and you just go right around their little muzzle, right? And just close it. You don't have to do it hard. You don't want to do it too hard. You can also lure and maneuver their head around because that's annoying. Remember, we want to annoy him.
No, stop it.
Hey. 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 The other thing is if when you pinch their nose, if it doesn't work for very long, then hold it. Hold it for a second. And they will try to get away from you and they won't like it. It's like play a game of catch the puppy, right? They bite you and you're just like you're stuck here. You can't get away. You know, you're not going anywhere. He's so sweet. This is a very submissive puppy, right? He's just very nice. He'll just do whatever I ask him to do. And he sort of just looks at you like, okay, I'm stuck. When can I get unstuck? If I'm really nice, will you unstick me? So then you can hold on to them for a few seconds. Don't let them get away. They won't like that. You know, if they start to associate biting you with being trapped or stuck, it's not going to be the fun associated with winning that they want it to be associated with. So, you know, hold on to them for a second, leave them stuck in that position, and just for 1 or 2 seconds and let them go. They might squeal at you a little bit, but you know you're not hurting them. You shouldn't be hurting them to do it. It's just annoying. You're just trying to irritate the puppy, right? Sorry about that, but he doesn't mind irritating you. Just remember that. He doesn't mind biting you and hurting you. So he's used to it. You know, puppies just chew on each other and step on each other and lay on top of each other all the time. To him, that's totally normal behavior. And so the puppy's not going to think you're awful if you do these things. He will modify his behavior to avoid the things that he doesn't like. And he just sort of expects you to do the same thing. They're not really considerate. They're really very self-driven, and that's just kind of how they are. They're animals. I mean, being considerate is really a human thing, and to be honest, not very many humans are even good at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure, right? We're really expecting too much. Expecting too much. Well, you want to be considerate for my feelings and not bite me because I don't like it. You don't just have to hold their mouth. You can trap their little paws and tail and hold them hostage too.
You bite me, I'll bite you. Hey.
Little jumps. And he's chewing on me a little bit. So he's like, I guess we're playing because I closed his mouth. That's what he's doing.
Ow! Ow! Don't bite me too hard. It is too hard. That hurt me. Yes, it did.
Squeaking and saying ow usually doesn't do any good, by the way. They might stop for a second and look at you, but then they're usually just going to keep biting you. And then it won't faze them at all. So a lot of people recommend that one. I don't. It doesn't really do any good. I mean, I do it just because it hurts, but I cannot understand why anyone recommends this. If squealing does anything, it incites their prey drive and ramps them up to bite harder. They do not know that they're hurting you. They don't expect play to stop. The claim that they learn to mouth gently from their litter mates and socialization is complete baloney. If one puppy squeals and runs away, the offender just starts playing with another puppy and the game continues. I sometimes wonder if the trainers that say these things have ever raised a litter of puppies before. But in case the last clip didn't prove it to you,
Ow! Ouch! Ow! Oh no, that hurts! Ah, stop it! Ow!
he's so sweet. They just kiss you all day. Another thing that you can do is when they bite you, pinch like the insides of their cheeks so that it pulls their cheek into their mouth, and then when they chomp down, they sort of bite on themselves, and they will try to avoid you because they don't particularly like biting themselves. So that does also work. You do want to be careful, but that is another way of doing it, just pinching their cheeks inward. And every time they open their mouth, just pinch, and they will stop doing it because they don't want to bite themselves, and probably because it's annoying to have your cheek being pushed into your open space in your mouth. That's probably really annoying. Any kind of mouth prying off of you, cheek hooking, pinching, getting their teeth off your skin, anything like that works. No.
Stop it. Don't bite me. I don't like it.
No. 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 No.
What? Would you like to be down? Is that better?
No.
It's not better. It's not better. Oh,
He's so sad.
why are you such a sad puppy?
I know. So anything again that you can do that will annoy them. Hey, 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 hey.
Aww.
What a good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Yeah, you know. You're a good boy. Oh, what a good boy.
Just gentle like that on the side of the mouth where they can't actually bite you. They can't reach you on the side. No, no bite. No, no bite. No bite. Nope, 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 no, no bite. Nope, nope.
Hey. Good boy. That's a good boy.
Another thing that you can do is actually take your finger when they bite onto your hand and you just do this at the very top of the roof of their mouth towards the back. You can just do that and it will tickle that soft palate and it will cause the puppy to gag. That's really tickles. And they won't like that. Obviously, nobody likes to gag. Puppies are no different. So your puppy will kind of go and they'll stop doing it. Now we've got a blower, so I guess that means I'm done talking. Still a little bit excited. Well, you are.